Hey guys, this is week 5, and right off the bat, I just got to say I had somebody who was watching these regularly ask me if they were able to, if they were allowed to email the link to somebody that they knew because they were encouraged by something, and I didn't think about that. It's just throwing this out here. If you are encouraged by something in any of this blog, it's not intended to be like a sermon or a sermonette or not to take the place of any church. But if you get encouraged by any of this and you feel led to email or share it with somebody else, you have my whole blessing. The whole point is keep me on task, get the word out there, and maybe encourage somebody from another avenue, such as the internet. So, like I said, if you feel the need, or if you just want to share it, by all means. I was looking at the weekly thing, and first blog had like 88 views, and then 38, and then 24, and then the last one had 10. And it's not really about the numbers. I could care less about the numbers. For the 10 people that watched the video last week, thank you. I more so hope that even if one person watched it, that they get encouraged by it. And so, I just want to tell you straight up, if you feel led to share it, you have my blessing. I'm putting it on the internet to be seen. So don't feel, don't have to ask, don't have to feel like you have to feel pressured about that or anything. Secondly, I just wanted to say this week was crazy, and I originally wanted to go in a whole nother route, and I have to share this quote. I'm hoping to get more time on it. I read this quote on Monday, maybe, and it just spoke volumes to me. And so I have to share it, and hopefully I'll get back to it. If I don't, hopefully I'll share it, and you can think about it, and you can do your own little thing on it. But it's from Martin Lloyd-Jones, and the quote is, "If my Christian living is not quite inevitable to me, there is something radically wrong with my Christian life." If your spiritual walk, if your Christian life is not, if you can't even tell, how are others going to tell? There's something radically wrong with your Christian life at that point. So it made me think, and so I'm throwing it out there, give you a chance to think, maybe, apply it wherever, share it, whatever. But this week, I feel like there's no coincidences, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about sin and prayer and all this, all the stuff we've been covering. And the Lord gave me a beautiful example this week of sin and how we're supposed to go about getting out of it, right? On Tuesday, Tuesday, we had a snow day, and I work at a school, so they gave me the phone call really early in the morning, and they're like, there's no school today, inclement weather, and I'm like, yes, hear the superintendent's voice, early in the morning. I don't mind that phone call, getting woke up by that, because to be honest with you, I really enjoy not going into work sometimes. So I'm thinking all these nice, awesome things that I can do with my day. Well, at 4:30 in the morning, I have to get up to take my sister to work. And it's rough getting up that early. I work second shift, so getting up that early, I can do it. I lose some sleep, so it's really bad. It's really hard for me. So I drive her to work. I come home. The roads are inclement weather. Roads are terrible. So I come home, and I'm coming into the driveway, and I start to slide, and I don't want to hit my mom's car, so I gun it, and I go the other way, and I start down our driveway. Our driveway goes down a hill to the back of our house, and that's our garage is like under there kind of deal. So the backyard, typically when it snows, we don't go back there, so it piles up, and then the snow drifting and everything, and whatever. So I'm halfway down this hill, and I'm sliding. I got full drive on. I am sliding. I'm not going back up this hill, right? And I get stupid. I'm thinking, well, I can't go backwards, but I can go forwards. So maybe I can go forward enough that I can get some momentum to come back up the hill. So, I go down a little bit. I get stuck again. Not going back, not going anywhere. Well, to make a long story short, for about 5 hours, from 4:30 in the morning, well, even longer than that, but 4:30 in the morning until about 12:30 or 1, I'm outside with a shovel and I'm digging out my car, and I keep going from one spot to the next, and I'm just digging up the yard. Car's not going anywhere. I'm frustrated. And everything that I thought, yeah, snow day, nothing happened because my car was stuck and I wasn't going anywhere. So, I'm getting frustrated. Well, I stop and I assess the situation, and I look at my tire tracks and how I got stuck. And so I dug it out really, really good. And I'm thinking, if I gun it and I turn just right, I can hit my tire tracks. And I can use the momentum to get back. Because at this point, I already shoveled like half of the yard and half the driveway. I'm like, I could probably make it back up the driveway now if I hit my tracks right. Well, so I gun it, and I point it that direction. Everything looks good. I'm like, yeehaw, here we go. Last second, I hit a patch that I missed shoveling. It throws me out. We have like another little downward hill to go to another part of our yard. I end up in that, which is even deeper than the first part. And, snow's up to my door. I can't even open my door to get out. And there's no getting out of this. There's no, I'm done shoveling. I'm tired. I'm frozen. I can't feel my fingers or my toes. And so I'm like, I quit. I can't do this anymore. It's not going anywhere. Someone's got to come pull me out, right? Well, somewhere in the process, I didn't know this, but somewhere in the process, I realized that I didn't have any brakes. And so I was looking later on, I realized that I don't know if maybe out of frustration I may have hit it with the shovel, digging out, or if just the struggle of I was rocking that baby. Just maybe the struggle of trying to get it somewhere in this struggle of getting my car free, I broke a brake line, and it's no brakes at all, leaking all over the place, and it's terrible. So I'm freaking out, and I just got my brakes fixed a couple months ago. I don't have the money to get this done again, and I'm thinking it's going to be some big expensive deal. And my dad calls me. I was trying not to tell him because he's at work. He didn't have the luxury of being called off. He's at work. I dug holes in the yard. I mean, it looks bad, and I don't want him. I'm already gonna, it's gonna upset him that I dug holes in it. It shouldn't be his problem because even though I got stuck initially out of my control, I got really, really stuck because I was stupid. And so, I'm like, I'm going to find a way to get this out of here before he gets home. It's not going to be his problem. And that was my attitude. And so, but during all this, my mom calls my dad and tells him, he's outside stuck in the backyard. He's frustrated. He's got no brakes. Apparently she saw me punch my car a couple times. She just knew that I had enough. And so she calls him and says, this is the situation. What do you want me to tell him? And so about a couple minutes later, for me, 5-6 minutes later, he calls me, and as soon as I see his name on my phone, I know that she told him, and I'm like, and so I answer the phone, and the first thing he says is, go in the house, warm up, don't freak out, don't worry about the yard. When I get home, I'll throw a chain on you, and I'll drag you out. Okay, well, this is hours of me out there. I'm like, you know what? Fine, whatever. You already know about it. I'm not going to hide it from you. So I'm just gonna go in the house and whatever. Well, he gets home, assesses the situation, realizes that I am stuck indeed, and I don't have any brakes or anything. So he just throws a chain on me, hooks up a tow chain, and just pulls me out of my hole and puts me back on the good part of the driveway. And, within 15 minutes. Remember, I'm out there for 5-6 hours. Within 15 minutes, I'm back where I'm supposed to be. So, and so I'm like, well, I'm glad I'm out, and then I'm looking and seeing how much damage is to the brake line, and that's going to be expensive, and I'm still kind of worrying. And I don't really think he thought it was funny, but he made a point to kind of like elbow me a couple times and said, stuff like, when it's snowing, you shouldn't go in the backyard. Okay, when you first got stuck, if you had just stayed right where you were, and I'd have pulled you out, you probably wouldn't have broke a brake line. Okay, two very, very true statements. Granted, at the time, that's not really what I wanted to hear. So, hindsight, if you think about it, if when I first got stuck, if I'd have waited for him, my dad would have pulled me out, and the damage wouldn't have been, probably no damage at all, and I wouldn't have had 5 hours, and I wouldn't have been down in the deep part of the yard. I'd have just been right there at the driveway where I first got stuck. So, okay, whatever. It's common sense, Dad. Thanks for just elbowing me and making matters worse. I'm frustrated, right? So we go and we get it fixed, and it's not really that big of a deal. It's like $100 or something, and a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But after everything calmed down, I had a chance to think about it, and the real funny thing is, I'm looking at this, and I keep from the day one, I keep praying, Lord, give me something to talk about each week, because I don't, I can put together a message, but this isn't a sermon. This is just what's going on in my life and what I feel like the Lord wants me to share. So I'm like, give me situations, put me in situations where I have something to speak on. Well, this whole situation is a perfect example of sin, and I'm thinking about it. How many times have I got stuck in a sin? Just a small little thing, got stuck right there on the driveway, got stuck in a little sin, tried to fix it myself, and just got deeper and deeper into sin. And it's not until I thought about it that I was brought to my mind that our senior pastor, or our founding pastor, he used to say all the time, sin will take you farther than you ever wanted to go. And it made sense and everything, and I knew what it meant, and so it's not like it was a big life changer to just think about that again, but it put it into perspective all over again for me, being stuck in the snow. If you think about it, like I said, a small sin, you start off getting stuck in a small sin, you try and get out of it yourself, you're going to get deeper and deeper into this until finally, you're up to your doors with sin, you're up to your doors with snow, and you can't get out yourself, you're stuck there, and then ultimately, you have to, you're out there digging for 5 hours trying to get out of sin, and ultimately, if you'd have just stopped where you were and called your father to come and pull you out, put you back on that solid ground, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But sin affects us, and it's not just spiritually, emotionally. It can affect us physically too. Sin is stressful, and the 5 hours I was out there digging, I have bruises. My whole body's sore. I got a patch that my mom swears is frostbite. I think the boots just rubbed my feet wrong. But either way, I am beaten and bruised up because of this situation, and sin will do the same thing, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And it's all because when I first got stuck, I tried to take care of it, and I didn't call my father to pull me out of it. And so I got a couple verses that I was thinking of right off the bat. Maybe you're thinking you're not buried in some kind of big, great, grand sin, but Romans 3:23 says, "For everyone has sinned." So I mean, we all fall short of the glory of God. So everyone sins somewhere, somehow, in something. So it's the little sins that we don't get under control that become bigger sins. And so I just, maybe you're not buried up to your door in sin right now, but start calling on your Father to pull you out of those little sins, because they're only going to get bigger. I thought of Proverbs 28:13, where it says, "People who conceal their sins will not prosper, but if they confess and turn from them, they will receive mercy." You hear all the time, what is done in the dark will be brought to the light. And I did everything I could to make this situation not be my dad's, not be something he had to deal with. And so he called, and I'm okay, just dealing with snow. I didn't tell him anything at first, because it wasn't his problem. I got myself in this situation. I wanted to fix it. Well, my mom calls him and tells him the situation, and sin's the same way. Even if we try and hide it, even if we keep it down, down on the down low, it comes out, and so sin comes out, and especially to the Lord, to our Father. He already knows, but I just thought that was kind of coincidental that, well, not coincidental rather, that my dad gives me a call and he's like, I know where you're at. You should have called me first, and that's the same way the Lord is when we're in sin and we're trying to do it with our own power. He's just sitting back like, hey, my number. Why aren't you calling me? So, lastly, like I said, it's going to be short today. I just wanted to encourage you guys that if there's just the little sins that you deal with, the little stuff you struggle with, start praying against them. Go to the Lord to help pull you out of those, and start getting out of those, because if you don't, they're only going to get bigger. I don't know where you're at. You do. If you think about it, you're honest with yourself. You know where you're at, and you know the things you struggle with. But praise the Lord. 1 Corinthians 15:57 says, but thank God He gives us victory over sin and death through our Lord Jesus Christ. So as we struggle with things, we need to go to Him. And just real quick, for reference sake, Romans 6:23, we need to admit that, well, first of all, the first verse said we're a sinner, and we need to admit that we need a Savior. And so, we need to go to Him to help us, to pull us out of our sin. And it's the only way that we're going to get to a place where we're not stuck. And, this week it just really opened my eyes to that. So I'm just telling you today that, one, I don't just sit in your little, when you're stuck, don't just sit in the little sins. They only get bigger. So I'm asking you today to think about where you're at, have a little talk with Jesus, and I will be praying for you. So I will talk to you again next week, and hope you have a good week. So God bless. Bye.